Good day, artists. Kyle Bohannon here with another episode of the Art of Physical Fitness show, theartofphysicalfitness.com, and the topic at hand that I want to address with you today is milking your program. Now, when I talk about milking your program, really what we're dealing with is a mindset shift. Shifting your mindset from believing you must lift maximally every time you go into the gym or push yourself into the ground, beat yourself down every single time you go in. And changing that mindset to a long-term approach, because that's what this ultimately is. It isn't about 3-month progress, 2-month progress, 6-month progress, even a year progress. It's about 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, that type of long-term mindset. Sure, if you have competitions, you need to, coming up if you're a powerlifter, bodybuilder, you need to adjust your training to build into those situations to get you where you need to be successful. But ultimately, you should never abandon the long-term approach. So, how do we go about actually milking your program? And from a general perspective, let's get to the RPE scale. This is highly important to milking your program. RPE scale, if you don't want to know what the RPE means, it means rate of perceived exertion. So a 10 equaling the weight or the intensity of the work is your absolute highest, and a 1 being it feels like a feather, it's cake, you might as well be lying down sleeping. So when you're training, most people, they work in that 9 to 10 every single time they go in, and what happens? They get injured, their progress stalls out, they lose motivation, they start questioning everything, they change their program wildly, they change their whole philosophy, and they just keep program hopping and moving along and not making any substantial progress, and 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they're still where they were at the beginning. So, what you need to do, instead of working at that 9 to 10, get to a weight. I'm just going to deal with weight training as opposed to just training sessions in general. But when you work up to weight, whatever you're doing, 5s, 3s, 2s, 10s, whatever it is, work in the area of a 6 to a 7 out of 10. That's the way you need to work with. So work up to a 5 at a 5 reps for a weight that feels like a 6 or a 10. And then stick with that weight. Don't concern yourself with adding more weight to the bar every time you go in. Stick with that weight until that 6 to 7 bumps down to a 5 and it starts feeling like cake. And at that point, now you can add another 5 pounds to the bar. This approach is very similar to how guys like Jim Wendler's successful 5-3-1 program and Chad Smith's Juggernaught method, as well as Power to the People by Paval and Easy Strength by Paval and Dan John. This is similar to the approaches they take for long-term success in your training programs. You simply just chip away at it. You get better at the weights. You either perform one more rep, but not one more rep maximally. You just perform one more rep. In Convict Conditioning, a great book that deals with completely bodyweight training in prison, it really makes your mindset shift to if you were in prison and you didn't have all the concerns that you have today, you were just simply in prison and all you had was a couple of 15 minutes for outdoor work, for socialized time, whatever you want to call it. Eat 3 times a day. I don't know. I've never been in prison, so I don't know the exact scheme. But pretty much your only concern is preparing your body, improving your body so that you can not get killed in prison. You don't concern yourself with making big leaps and bounds. You sit there and you realize, I got 15 years at this. That, I can focus on my training for 15 years with no distractions. So I'm just going to chip away. Like, I can't remember his name at the time right now, but the guy in Shawshank Redemption breaks out of jail. And he just slowly over, say, I think it was like 15, 20 years, he slowly just chipped away at that hole till it led him to freedom. And that's what you need to do with your training. Just slowly chip away at it. Just simply once you feel like you have the grasp of a weight or movement, just simply increase the intensity just by a smidgen, just by a hair. Just increase the intensity. Add a rep. Add 5 pounds. It now just bumps back up to a 6 or a 7. And then you work that movement until you get it to bump down to a 5. And over time, it might fluctuate. A 6 to a 7 one day might feel like 315 in the squat. And then you head in the next day, a 6 to a 7. You're going to stick with 315 as the movement you want to get to. But you get to 305, and 305 feels like a 6 or 7, so be it. Work that 6 to 7 today and come back another day and work up to the 315 again if you have it. And if it does feel, all of a sudden now it starts to feel more towards a 6 than a 7. And then you fluctuate up and down as you go, and now it starts to feel like a 5. And now you add 5 pounds to where you're trying to go with. And you just slowly over time make small incremental chipping steps as you go about it, and you will make progress over the long haul. So the final thing you should be talked about and addressed is how you can actually make progress. The 3 methods that you need to focus on are: 1, improving your quality of your reps. And mainly, the first one would be improving the speed, just getting more explosive. When you're more explosive, obviously the weight's easier. If you're able to complete 5 reps in 15 seconds, and all of a sudden with the same weight, you're able to complete 5 reps in 10 seconds, you got more explosive and you got better at that weight, and chances are you're good to up it by 5 pounds, 10 pounds of that movement. The second would be improve your technique. When you start greasing that technique, just getting deeper, and say a squat, getting deeper, knees out, better chest up position, better posture. You keep on greasing that, you're practicing the movement, it's going to be ingrained in your body, and when you start to get to heavier and heavier weights, you're going to be able to handle it no problem with great technique. And the third and final way to improvement is simply, like I said before, adding reps. Say bodyweight movements. You want to work up to 1-arm pull-ups? Well, you might work with each arm. You might hit 5 in each arm, 2 sets. And that kind of fluctuates by the day, but you hit it maybe 3 to 4 times a week, and you're anywhere between 4 to 6 reps what you're hitting, but it's around a 6 to 7 effort. But then all of a sudden you start going in, you're feeling good, working up to 6, now starts feeling like a 4 or 5, and you start, I'm going to bump up, adding reps, now I'm going to start working with 7s, and just slowly chipping away at 7s until they start to feel better. It might fluctuate down to 5s, maybe go up occasionally to an 8, but then once 7s routinely become easy, you bump it up again, move up to 8s, and you start chipping away. Again, it's going to seem right now, it might seem like slow progress when you look from 1 week to 1 month to the next month. It's going to be like, man, I've only improved by 1 rep, but you've improved, man. So don't concern yourselves with such large states of progress in short periods of time. Instead, focus on long-term growth and progress by chipping away. So that's all I had today for you artists. This is the Art of Physical Fitness Show. Kyle Bohannon bringing it to you, artofphysicalfitness.com. Have any questions, click the link below to ask those questions to me, and I'll address them via video. And until next time, hope you enjoyed this episode of the show. Stay tuned for more. Bye.